Okay, so good afternoon, guys. Welcome to this first session for the Model 3 that is about media literacy. Today we have with us Dr. Sara Pereira. She's an associate professor with aggregation at the Institute of Social Science in the Department of Communication Science, and she's a researcher at the Communication and Society Research Center of the University of Minho. Um, She has coordinated several national and European projects and is the author of several publications as well. And her main areas of research are children, young people, and related to media, the rights of expression and participation of children and young people in media. So, welcome, Sara. Thank you for giving us your time. And we were talking about before with Sara, and she would like you to maybe introduce yourself so she can have a little bit of a knowledge of who are you.
Yes. Hello to everyone. Good afternoon. Well, I think it's good to know a little about you. So, if you don't mind, I would like to invite you to introduce yourselves and your name and where are you from and why are you in this master and what you want to say. Thank you. Perhaps, I don't know, Jamal, can you introduce in first, please?
Yeah, of course. Hi, my name is Jamal. I come from New York/Barbados, currently living in Barcelona, and I am by nature a professional dancer, dance educator now, and a choreographer. So being in this master's program is very important to me because I want to bridge those two worlds a bit more, and also using communication and media as a method and tool more with more consciousness in the dance educational realm rather than a secondary source, kind of using it as a source, as a prompt more so than anything else.
Well, good. Thank you. And Lorena, can you introduce yourself now?
Hello, my name is Lorena Grebenișan. I'm from Romania. I'm a psychiatrist and assistant professor at the discipline of psychiatry in University of Medicine, Pharmacy, Science and Technology of Târgu Mureș. I teach psychiatry to 60-year students from the Faculty of Medicine, and I enrolled in this master program because I want to improve my communication skills as well the learning methods.
Okay, and you are now in Barcelona or you are in your
No,
country?
I'm in Romania.
In Romania. Okay, thank you, Lorena. Thank you. And Maya?
Hi, I'm Maya Hollander. I'm originally from the US, California, but I've been living abroad for the last couple of years. I'm currently in Torrevieja, Spain. I am currently part of the auxiliary program teaching English in Spain. But I wanted to pursue this master's because I am interested in working in international schools, but bringing forward this idea of the technology that is going to be very prevalent very soon, if not already, and how do you bring that technology forward to students in the best way? So to me, this seemed like a perfect marriage of what I'm doing currently and what I'd like to do in the future. So I'm very excited.
Okay, thank you. And Malak, I don't know if I pronounce in the correct way your name.
Yeah, it's correct. Hi,
Okay.
my name is
Hi.
Malak Abu Zainab. I'm from Beirut, Lebanon. And finally, we have a ceasefire now, yesterday, because we had war. And I studied communication arts, radio, TV, and film in the Lebanese American University. I worked in a TV station for a few years, and it's called Al Mayadeen TV. And I wanted to pursue this master because I wanted to shift to the academic life, to the university life. So I'm more interested, like now, in this more than the work field of TV stations.
Okay,
That's
thank
all.
you. And Karen?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Sorry, my webcam still hasn't arrived. I got a
It's
new
okay.
computer. But
Yeah.
yeah, really quickly, yeah, my name is Karam. I'm originally from Syria and came to Spain when I was very, very young, around like 12 years old. Came here as a refugee, but thankfully now this is my second home and naturalized. But a lot of people are not really in that position or that privilege. And I just thought that after I studied journalism, I think that I've always wanted to like understand how to um what's the best ways of providing education to people, especially like children and young people in like emergency contexts, in like war or refugee in like like emergency zones. So that's kind of why I took this. I signed up for this.
Okay, good. So I will start now with my lecture. You can comment and you can interrupt me during my presentation. Please feel free to interrupt and to comment because it will be interesting that we can discuss some of these topics. And I will present you some discuss media literacy, the concept, but also how it relates with digital literacy, and present some results from some studies that I conducted here in Portugal. One is it's about media literacy competencies, how to assess media literacy competencies. I saw in your module that the assessment of media literacy is one of the topics. So I think it's interesting to present you a study that we developed in 2015. It's 10 years ago, but it's original here in Portugal. This study is first and unique study about media literacy competencies assessment. So I will show how we assess this media literacy of young people, and also the problems that we had with this kind of study. Well, I will start, and so feel free to interrupt me. Okay. Well, let's see here. Okay, I think you are now watching the screen with my presentation. Yes.
Yes, Sara.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
thank you.
Thank you. So I entitled this presentation for today, Media Literacy for All, and the need of media literacy for all people. Well, I study with young people and children and youth, but I think this is a matter of not only young people, but for all people, the adults and the elders. Well, I think it's an urgency of a field of study and also a field of intervention. It's important to study media literacy and to conduct research on the field, of course. But I think it is also important to intervene in the field, to intervene in schools, in the seniors universities, for instance, and in the local of the job of the adults. So yeah, it's not only an area for schools, but also for other contexts in the countries. But we can discuss this later, and it will be great to listen to your perspectives on this issue. If you feel that is an urgency, if you feel that is a need to all, or is a need only for young people, for instance, well, we can then discuss about this. Let's see. The concept, this is the concept we here follow on the University of Minho about media literacy. I begin with this concept of media literacy that is certainly familiar to you, but that is important to present it even for what I will discuss below, okay? So this concept includes media access and use, and they are basic conditions for the use of the media, of course, but this concept also includes the competencies of analysis and critical evaluation, as well as creation and production of content, okay? Relating this production and creation with the item of participation. So it's important to access, to use, to know how to evaluate the information, to understand the information, but also to learn how to create contents, how to create message, how to publish this message in the public space with ethics, okay? Because some people don't know how to express themselves in the public space. Sometimes they think that these public space are private space, and it's important to express, to know to express, and to create information and to discuss in order to also to guarantee the democracy in the public space, but always with a sense of ethics in this expression and in this production and this publication. Well, I don't have the idea that media literacy can save the world. It will be good, it will be great if so, but I'm convinced that it can make a great contribution to a more inclusive society, especially in these new and controversial times. I think it was why I entitled this presentation with urgency. I think it's urgent to do something in the field of media literacy and to promote more media literacy. In my perspective, the concept of media literacy also includes the concept of literacy, the digital literacy. Otherwise, I think we will be talking about an obsolete, anachronistic concept that is no sense in this digital age. And this author, Berger, in an article published in this book entitled Media Literacy in the Digital Age, edited by Ulla Carlson, the author Berger states that more recently there has been a veritable clamor around semantic innovation of digital literacy. This is often treated as if it constituted a new and standalone set of competencies, responded to entirely new communications developments, and it's accordingly siloed from media and information literacy evolved in a pre-digital era. But it is far from self-evident as to what the phrase digital literacy entails. So the idea that I present these two concepts is to say that, in my opinion, digital literacy, it is included in media literacy. We cannot separate digital literacy from media literacy, and it is even more important in this digital environment that you are living in. And so, if you consider only media literacy related to traditional media, well, media literacy will be obsolete and will not be important for us, for people, and for society. So, in fact, the concept of digital literacy seems to be fashionable to talk about digital and talk about digital literacy, although it is not always clear what people include in this concept. And sometimes they highlight more the competencies of the technical competencies than the critical competencies. And the critical competencies are central in the media literacy work. So what we are talking about is a field, and what you have to consider is the needs of identifying new competencies to deal with the demands of the today world. And also the need of highlighting continuities and continuities between literacies and talking about multi literacies. Okay, so you can have, for instance, television literacy or computer literacy or internet literacy or advertising literacy, but we have to think in all these literacy as a way to explore multi-literacies, and we have some competencies that we develop in one kind of literacy that we of course we transport to other kind of media and other kind of contents. So what I think we need to highlight is these continuities between this field and between all these literacies. It is also in this sense that UNESCO presents the meal ecology proposal. I don't know if we know this proposal from UNESCO. This ecology involves various means, from the most traditional, for instance, television, cinema, film, print media, to the most recent, internet, social networks. But in a perspective of media convergence, both from the point of view of production and diffusion, and from the point of view of consumption. It is on this basis of media convergence that we should also think about media and information literacy. And as you can see in this scheme, we have a lot of literacies, as I said before, television literacy, data literacy, game literacy, film literacy, information literacy. So we need to construct continuities between these all kind of literacies in order to promote and to develop competencies on this ecology of media and information literacy. And now let me emphasize the values that UNESCO places as fundamental in media and information literacy work, in addition to the skills and knowledge to be developed. These values relate, for instance, to freedom of expression. These values are on the blue and green spaces, okay? So they relate to freedom of expression, freedom of information, human rights and dignity, tolerance and respect of others, intercultural dialogue, peace and solidarity. So I think it's important to know that when we think on promoting media literacy and we think about the relevance of media literacy to people and to society, it's important to think also in this kind of values that we could be promoting through media literacy. It's not only attitudes or knowledge or skills, but it's also values, and these values are fundamental to a more tolerant society and to contribute to a society that can dialogue and can solve problems using the power of the communication. So for me, it's very important, this scheme of UNESCO, because it highlights the knowledge and the skills that we can develop with media literacy, but also these kind of values that support media literacy and values that we can promote through promoting media literacy. So in media literacy works, the media are considered as fundamental dimensions of contemporary life and seen as complex systems of communication, consumption, representation, reproduction, and distribution that inform us about the world. These are indeed important dimensions of media literacy that can be explored to a better understanding of the media ecosystem. So all these dimensions are some dimensions that are followed by several countries in the promotion and implementation of media literacy in different contexts, and this dimension could also be a basis for a work that wants to assess media literacy competencies. Okay, we can use all these dimensions and then to elaborate, to create indicators in order to know, for instance, how are people communicating with media or digital media? What are their kinds of practices, media practices and media consumption? How the media represent the world and how they read the world through the media, and how they create representation through the media they watch or they read or they listen to. Also this idea of how are people production information, if they are more producers than they are more consumers than producers, for instance, and also what they know about the media distribution, for instance, about social networks, if how the social networks work, why we don't pay for social networks, considering that our data is the money that you put in the social networks, and sometimes people use a lot the social networks, but don't know anything about the way that social networks work and function, and how they distribute their contents, and how they need our data to work and to be in this public space as spaces for all, and to where you live all our opinions, and sometimes you are confusing opinions with facts, and we see this all this information in the social networks, but and you consider that are facts, but in fact they are opinions, and so this is the kind of information and the kind of issues that it's important that people know about in order to be more critical in their consumption of this kind of contents. So the great pillar of media literacy is not technologies, but rather people, citizens, as well as communication, thinking and critical understanding and participation in and through the media. As all these pillars are important, let me, however, emphasize critical thinking, seen by many authors as the first step or the first objective of media literacy, critical thinking, okay? And it is my understanding that the pedagogy of critical media literacy could be an essential part of all education, not only media education, but of all kinds of education. Okay, so this need of critical media literacy for all education, and not only for media education or media literacy. Education in the new era we live in, and the school that is one of its main agents, cannot leave out the big questions of our current world. In this slide, I try to present some of these current world issues. For instance, populism, racism, xenophobia, hate speech, disinformation, freedom of expression, and freedom of information are just some examples. I'm sure you would add many other issues here, and these are the issues that I consider that are nowadays the main issues for media literacy, and that media literacy need to deal with, okay, in promoting these some competencies or some media competencies with people. And I want to relate these current world issues that for me are important to media literacy, to a work of media literacy, with these values of UNESCO, because when we are approaching these current world issues, we can promote some of that values. For instance, the value of freedom of expression, the value of freedom of information, also the value of the intercultural dialogue, and also the value of tolerance, or a more tolerant society. So I think media literacy, it's about, of course, media and media contents, about technologies, but it is mostly about people. It's mostly about citizens, and how are they using media, how are they using media contents to construct a more tolerant society, or in the other side, if they are constructing a divided society and a war society, okay, and a society that don't communicate, and I think it's a problem. You have a lot of devices today, a lot of technologies to communicate with each other, but are we communicating better in this world? Can we communicate? Can you share our opinions and respect the opinions of the others? Are we open to different opinions? So I think this is urgent issues in our current world that are also issues for media literacy work in schools and of course in other contexts. In the public space, namely in the public media space, one can hear the voices of personalities from various sectors of society who seek to alert to these big issues and for the importance of debating them in favor of better citizenship and a robust and healthy democracy. Now I will show and quote some of these voices as a way of sustaining the important contribution of that media literacy can make to education in the new era. Sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly, these voices are inviting us to critically discuss these issues, to openly debate them with young people and listening to them. So the first two voices are by two Portuguese. One is an historian and regular commentator in the media, and the other is a journalist. Unfortunately, he already died. So Pacheco Pereira, the historian, in an opinion article published in 2016 in a leading Portuguese newspaper named Público, wrote about the new ignorance, saying that being ignorant nowadays, it's not having the tools to move in the world around us. It is being a subject more than being an actor. It is not being able to achieve the empowerment that one is supposed to have. So I think this reflection of Pacheco Pereira, it's very important to our today because you are now facing new ignorance in society, and this new ignorance is being brought by media, and we think we are well informed, but actually we have a lot of information, but we don't know how to inform ourselves in a critical and in an informed way. So something that we also can discuss, and I would like to discuss with you about this new ignorant stated by this historian Pacheco Pereira. And in its turn, Vicente Jorge Silva, journalist, who wrote in the same newspaper that it is not possible to understand a phenomenon like Trump without noticing the depletion of critical and civic spirit or the absence of convictions and values that have established themselves in contemporary societies. So the two quotations are related, and I think it is important to read these comments and to read in newspapers. These are from newspapers, and they are alerting us about what is happening in our world and what you need to do in order to change the world, or in order to construct a better world for us. The next two voices came from Tim Berners-Lee. As you know, he's the creator and founder of the web. And the other is from Victor Picard, professor at the Annenberg School of Communication in the USA. So the web creator, Tim Berners-Lee, on the web's 30th anniversary in the 2019, warned to the important role of the citizens, in maintaining or rescuing, we can say, the web as an open and free space for all, saying, if you don't do our part to foster constructive, healthy conversations online, if you continue to click consent without demanding our data rights be respected, we walk away from our responsibility to put these issues on the priority agenda of our governments. And Tim Berners-Lee message is I think Tim Berners-Lee message is powerful, and it puts also in the hands of the citizens, so in our hands, the power of doing something for a better web. A better web is necessary, say its creator. And in its turn, Victor Picard speaks of disinformation as a collective problem that needs, in order to be tackled, a collective response from everyone. So it's the responsibility of everyone. Again, the citizens' power as publics, as audience. So sometimes we as publics of the media or as citizens, we think that we have no power. The power is in the hands of the media companies. But no, it's not true. We have a lot of power, but we need to take this power in our hands and do something. I think media literacy could be a tool for this. The importance of quality information and quality journalism was highlighted with the award of Nobel Peace Prize to Maria Ressa and Dmitry Muratov for their fight for freedom of expression in Philippines and Russia, and therefore for their efforts to safeguard freedom of expression as preconditions for democracy and lasting peace. In awarding this prize, the Nobel Committee reinforced the importance of protecting and defending the values of freedom of expression, the right of the public to inform themselves and to be well informed by the media, and the idea that the work of journalists is necessary to achieve these values and develop democracy. So I think it was a good message when these two journalists received this Peace Prize in 2021. The last voice I present to you is from Carlos Fiolais. He's a physicist and recently retired university professor, he's well known in Portugal. In a recent opinion article, it talks about the role of the school and the technological mirage that prevails in schools, saying that the government's concern in education is to provide myriads of computers. It thinks that paying the thinkers is exempting it from its mission of fostering the profoundly human process that must take place in the classroom. Well, he may be exaggerating a bit in this vision of technologies at school, but the truth is that it's not enough to deliver computers to students and to schools and think that digital or media literacy is solved. This is a problem that has already arisen in the implementation of the technological plan for education here in Portugal. So we can say that is a problem created by the pandemic, but it was a problem made more visible by the COVID pandemic, showing the deep symmetries not only in access but in digital literacy of students and the teachers. And this is also here in Portugal, this is a problem because we have a lot of programs to deliver computers to schools, to deliver computers to students, but these computers are not followed with a media literacy program or a pedagogical program. So they deliver the computers and nothing nothing is happening at schools. And digital and media literacy is not promoted only by delivering computers. We need programs. We need to training teachers to also to train their students in this matter. Okay, so it's also a question with the implementation of media literacy in some countries, and Portugal is an example. To further substantiate the idea that I'm trying to communicate with you today, I will pick up very shortly some results of 4 international and national studies. So a study from the University of Stanford involving more than 3,000 middle scholars showed that the majority had great difficulty in discerning the difference between news articles and advertisements. And they also believed a fake video without stopping to identify its source. So it's some results of this study from the University of Stanford. Also the digital news report from 2018 from the Reuters Institute. It was the first time that Reuters Institute include in this report some information about news literacy. So this report showed that people with higher levels of news literacy tend to consume news from a wider range of sources. Also, in general, the preference for newspapers and the newspapers' websites is more widespread among those with higher levels of news literacy. So I think it's good results that we can have as a starting point to our media literacy work. In the Portuguese context, according to a PISA report for Portugal, 5,930 that involves 5,932 students from 276 schools. The percentage of students who know how to distinguish fact from opinion is 50%. Okay, so 50% know how to distinguish fact from opinion, and the other 50% didn't know. And of course, this is a problem, because we need to know how to distinguish fact from opinion in order to be well informed, because it's very different if you are reading an opinion or if you are reading a news or an other piece of news that are based on facts. And in a recent research project in Portugal, in which I also participate, it was observed that 73% of a sample of 275 secondary school students were unable to identify or classify an opinion article. The same sample reveals higher technical competencies than critical media reading or expression or participation competencies. So they have great technical competencies, but lower competencies related to critical reading, critical expression, critical production, and also participation. When we are talking about media literacy, we always depart from this seminal idea that the media are not windows through which you can see the world, Media are not just tools or intermediaries that only transmit message. When they convey message, the media represent the reality, they construct it. How? For example, selecting the issues they talk about, choosing an angle or point of view. Media are always selecting the information, making choices. By doing that, they influence the way we see and understand the world around us, our perceptions and our thoughts and our opinions. And we also need to learn what media show to us and what they publish, but also their silence, what they don't show, what they don't tell us, okay, about this reality, considering this our social reality. Media are mediating this reality, so we need to know what is being published by media and what are not being told by the media. And of course, it's also important to consult different sources and to read the news and to read information in different media and in different newspapers, in different TV channels, in different social networks, and so on. Why it's important to promote children and young people media and information literacy? Now concentrating this in young people and children. Well, there are many reasons. Here I highlight only some. First of all, protection, provision, and participation, and also to be informed are child's rights. They have actually been established by the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of the Child since 1989. Then it is important to consider that to be an informed and an active citizen, children and young people need to know what is going on in the world. If you don't know what is going on, we cannot participate. And society does need the outlook of the younger generations. The young generation can give fresh contributions and creative solutions to the problems that affect our world. So we need to listen to them. And finally, talking about news in a school context helps to bridge the gap between the world inside and the world outside school. Sometimes these two worlds, inside school and outside school, and that outside school is also the world of the media, are separate a lot, and we need to cross more these two worlds, and to cross more this informal and this formal learning from students, and of course from children and media. Therefore, it seems evident to me that the importance of school to integrate media literacy in its curricula. School cannot ignore relevant issues that generate debate and question citizens. Some author in France talk about social acute questions and towards the current affairs, the news that come into the classroom every morning with students. What can teachers do? It's the question of these French researchers. How do we react to them? Should we refuse to engage in these slippery grants and stick to objective knowledge? Or should we open up the debate widely so that the people can learn at school to think for themselves? I can answer saying that media and information literacy, it's an educational emergency if you want to democratize school and make it an institution which trains the citizens for a true democracy. And just a brief note to say that there are already several schools that develop this work. What we need is to make it more systematic, supported by educational policies, so that it's not left to the militancy of the teachers. Well, but it's not fair to say that there are. It's also fair to say that there are already several schools that develop this work. As I said, what we need to make more systematic. And in Portugal, school libraries have been important agents of media and information literacy in schools. And in order to understand what work is done in this context. Some years ago, we conducted a survey with the teachers librarians in Portugal. The final sample is 723 teachers librarians, which is 53% of the whole population of the librarian teachers in Portugal. And as we can see in this graph, 66% of teachers mentioned that they carry out media and information literacy activities in school libraries, and 34% responded that they do not conduct these kind of activities. In my opinion, it is already good news to see that there is a lot of teachers that are integrating media literacy in school libraries and in their context. And when we think about school libraries and media literacy and school libraries, we also know that media literacy is inside schools, and I think it's a good news for us in Portugal. And teacher librarians in this study were asked to choose 3 activities they considered most relevant and to characterize them. The activities were then codified by thematic categories. These tables shows the frequency and the percentage of the total of the activities by thematic category. As the table shows, there is a total of 841 activities reported by teacher librarians as having been developed over 2 school years, and the most frequent are related to security and the risks in the internet and social networks, which represent 31% of all activities, revealing that media protectionist perspectives continue to dominate. Okay, because these kind of issues are implementing and are being developing with this kind of protectionism concern. Next are activities based on instrumental use of the media. The use of the media is digital tools to sports or resources for learning, but that haven't the media as an object of critical analysis and exploration, and with the same percentage of 16% came a set of varied activities grouped in others, since these are activities of reading, artistic expression, and others without relation with the media. So we don't know whether their inclusion in the questionnaire was out of ignorance of the area of media and information literacy, or if teachers need to highlight activities in other areas due to the lack of activities in that domain to report. The critical exploration and analysis of media, a media literacy core dimension, as well as research, plagiarism, and copyright, another central dimension of information literacy, are both at 10%. In the context of school library, one would expect that these information literacy topics would be higher in its implementation. Then came two other key media and information literacy themes, both of at 7%, media and content production, and disinformation and fake news, an area that has gained predominance in recent years and has been included in national and international media and political agendas, as you know. Activities concerning cinema and film literacy did not exceed 3%, despite the existence of, in Portugal, of a national film plan and some schools' tradition of film-related activities in the pre-digital era related to the promotion of media literacy in schools. So, in the case of Portugal, but I believe that in many other geographical contexts, we need, in my perspective, a change in technology policies for education. We need to move towards a convergence of media and technology approaches in education, and this convergence is also needed on the policies from the European Union, either in educational policies or media and communication policies. We need to move from a perspective centered only on risks, safety and protection, to a perspective centered on empowerment, aiming critical and discerning citizens. And I think also that we need to move from a media and ICT technological and instrumental approach centered on the access and the use of technologies to a media and ICT humanistic and civic approach centered on critical thinking and understanding and on centering on the critical thinking and critical understanding, and also on expression, production, and participation of the citizens. In Portugal, the Ministry of Education provides a media education framework for preschool, primary and secondary education. The first version dates from 2014, and a revised and updated version was published in December 2023. I'm one of the authors of this media education guidance. It presents eight themes, which are mentioned here in this slide, and which are expected to be addressed gradually from preschool to secondary schools. This document is a policy for schools, and it helped to create a more consistent policy of integrating media and information literacy in schools, and is guiding the teachers in this work from preschool to secondary education. I don't know if you have a kind of document like this in your countries. Perhaps you could share with me now or at the end of my presentation, because I think it is important that countries have this kind of policies, documents, in order to make more consistent the promotion of media literacy in schools. If you haven't no policies, sometimes teachers are interested in promoting, sometimes they are not, sometimes they change from school in some academic years, and the work they were being developing in their schools, they end because they change for another school, and there are not consistency in promoting media literacy. And in Portugal, this document was, and it is very important for schools and for teachers, for creating more consistent work in media literacy field at school. Well, I will now present I'm coming to the end of my presentation. I would like now to talk about a study we carried out in 2015 with the aim of assessing the media literacy skills of the 12th graders, so the students that are in the last school of the last year of the secondary education. So these students are 17 and 18 years old. Sometimes they are older. And as I said, they are in the final year of the compulsory education. So as I have seen that this module covers the assessment of media literacy, I think it's important to show some of the results of this study. So its main objective was to evaluate levels of media literacy of a group of young people aged between 17 and 18 years old, to understand the level of preparation and knowledge of young people in terms of media access, analysis, understanding, evaluation, and production. And to develop and test a tool, an instrument for measuring and evaluating media literacy competencies that could be replicated in other contexts, in other countries. This study was carried out using a questionnaire divided into 3 parts: media access and use, critical analysis and understanding, and creation and production related to participation. Okay. So the sample consists of 679 students from 46 schools in Portugal, from different scientific areas, and 59% were girls and 41% were boys, and 86% were 17 and 18 years old, and the other percentage is related with older students that are doing the 12th year of secondary education, but they were retained in some years before this year. So the questionnaire contained questions of three levels of difficulty, and were scored according to this difficulty. Questions at level 1 correspond to a basic level, were awarded 3 points. Questions at level 2 in an intermediate level were awarded 6 points, and the questions at level 3 at high level were awarded 10 points. The evaluation scale was 100 points. The analysis model includes 4 indicators: media access, critical analysis, evaluation, so competence of evaluation of the information, of the contents, and also competences of creation and production and participation through and in the media. In this study, we differentiate competencies from practices and perceptions, and I think this is a very good questions when we develop studies on media literacy competencies. Sometimes I noticed that some of the studies don't evaluate competencies, but evaluate, for instance, perceptions, self-perceptions, or their media practices. And it's very different to evaluate practices and perception, or to evaluate competencies. So our questionnaire had the part related to know, to understand young people media practices, and also their perceptions about the media and their relation about media. But the other parts we have had some exercise, some activities to evaluate their competencies, okay? Not only their perceptions, but their competencies. So we give them some exercise, for instance, to read and to analyze new species, for instance, or to watch and to analyze a video, or to evaluate an advertisement. So this is some kind of competencies, some kind of activities that were included in our questionnaire in order to evaluate their competencies, the way they analyze, the way they do, the way they read, they critical read this kind of contents, this kind of activities. So some results. The study revealed a well-connected generation. Showed also great difference between girls and boys, and difference in students by parents, level of schooling, and the family income. So these are some dimensions that we considered in our study that were relevant in terms of difference between the students. This table shows the points achieved by the students in sample on a 100-point scale, as I said before. The table shows the points, the majority over 15% were at level 1. Having achieved less than 29 points, okay? This was a very, very surprising result. We didn't expect this result. In the second level were 43% of the students who achieved between 29 and 49 points, and only 5% of our sample, so 32 students were at level 3. So in considering that level 1 is a basic level, level 2 is an intermediate level, and level 3 is the high level of competencies. So I don't know how you see these results, but for us at that moment these results were a surprise for us. We didn't expect that a lot of students, more than half of our sample, were in the level 1. And of course, this study was very important for for our community here in Portugal. We conduct several seminars in schools and in other public space in order to show our results, and in order to invite schools in doing more work on media literacy with their students. And I need to tell you that these 32 students that are in level 3, almost all are from the same school. Okay, almost all are from the same school, and it's not an urban school. It's great because it's not an urban school, it's a suburban school, and then we follow these results and we contact the school, and we realized that teachers did a lot of activities concerning media, and for instance print media and information and disinformation with students, so they achieved these results. We were interested in the conduct qualitative schools, qualitative study with this school, but then we hadn't no funding, and so we couldn't do this following study. That I think it would be interesting to know more about these students that were in this high level of media literacy competencies. So the study allowed to draw an X-ray of the levels of media literacy of a sample of students at the national level. Young people access and use the media frequently, but generally they reveal low levels of knowledge about the media world. The study also showed the need to go beyond the development of technical skills to promote critical analysis and production. And the results obtained were much lower than expected. And so our question was, where does the problem lie? Well, we also looked at our instrument, our tool, our questionnaire, in order to evaluate if there is a problem with our tool, because actually we didn't expect that, for instance, they don't know they didn't know to recognize some advertisement inside an excerpt of a series. Okay, they don't know that this is advertisement content inside a series. So it was very problematic, but because these people were 17 and 18 years old. They are finished their secondary school, and they are going to the job market, or they are going to universities. So as I said before, these results were very important for our media literacy studies and our media literacy action. At the end of the study, we had more questions than answers, and I think we are understanding why. And these are some of these questions. To what extent does this type of instrument actually capture and evaluate the students' competencies? In the vast field of communication and media, what dimensions should we decide to evaluate? Is the right to disengage this type of evaluation from the context in which media experiences and practices occur? This type of instrument does not mainly evaluate the cognitive dimension, valuing little other dimensions such as social and cultural and emotional dimensions. If we use qualitative methods, we can overcome some of these problems, but we cannot reach a representative sample. So what to do in order to better evaluate, in order to better assess media literacy competencies, not only of the young people, but media literacy competencies of the population. And finally, let me introduce you the MILOPS, the Media and Information Literacy Observatory of the University of Minho, coordinated by me and my colleague Manuel Pinto. This MILOPS is available through a digital platform, milops.pt. It's a non-profit service to the community, researchers, field actors, trainers, policymakers, media, organizing in the 5 main axes: policies, practices, training, research, and resources. Its main objective is to gather, treat, and make available relevant information on media literacy with a particular focus on Portuguese reality, but with an open and global perspective. So we can find some resources in this platform, not only from Portugal, but from all the world, or the world that we have access, and we can publish this kind of resources and this kind of information. And lastly, very soon, I would also like to present to you the research project BU, study on children and young people's experience and expression of the media. I'm coordinating now this project. It will end in next March, in the next year. And this project is funded by Portuguese Foundation for Science and Technology, and it has 2 main aims: to listen to children through a survey and focus groups about their media practices and their personal and social experiences with the media, and in the second phase, in the second stage, to give them a voice and promoting their expression about and through the media. The project adopts a participative and reflective methodology with the aim of collecting expressions from children and young people about the media in different formats to be analyzing later. And at this stage, included the launch of a campaign under the title "Express Yourself." This is the flyer of our campaign. The materials collected in this campaign are published on a participatory online platform, the BU Expression Mural. This mural has 4 areas. You can see this mural also on the internet, muralbu.pt. And the one area shows the production of children and young people. So children and young people until 18 years old send us some expressions. It could be a text, a poem, a sound, a video, a dance, and so on. And then we filter this information. We see if there is some problems with this kind of information. If not, we publish it in mural, in this space, the mural of expressions, and you can see some of the activities and the productions that they sent to us. A second space that is an expression area on several themes suggested by the research team related to the media, school, family, friends, and so on. And the expression is made through a word, send an image or a video. Okay, so they fund in this space also some cards with questions. For instance, what do you think about the food in your canteen, or what do you think about some program? What do you think about social networks, for instance? And they leave a word, they leave an emoji, and they leave, and if they want, they leave also a sound or a video. The other area is constituted by quizzes in which we ask children and young people to test their knowledge while developing their media literacy. So our aim is to develop their media literacy competencies in some areas. And the fourth area explains that what the moral is, and explains the publication, privacy and data protection policies of this platform. So I have here a video. If I will end with this video. Is the video that invites the people to our mural. So it was the video that used to launch our campaign, and it was disseminated in all schools in Portugal, but also in other institutions that work with children and young people. Let's see if these works have, and if you have sound. No. Sorry, I will interrupt the sharing and I think, well, I'm sorry, because sometimes I have here the, let's see. No. Okay. Well, I think I will not be I can't find the the button to share the sound, so
Yeah, maybe if you're not able to share the video, you can send us the link and we
yes.
will upload it to the virtual campus so everyone can watch it later.
Yes. So let's see if I think it's I well, let's see now. No, sorry, that's not working. Well,
It's a
yes, Albert, I will send you the video, the link to this video is in our YouTube channel, so I will
cool.
send you
Yes.
and we have here the contacts of our project, this BU project. If you want to to see the mural, and also we have a website, and you have all the information about this project, and the results, and the articles that you have published so far. So thank you very much for your attention, and if you have time, you can discuss some of these questions and other that you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sara. So yes, come on, Jamal.
I actually have a question. You talked about earlier changing information communication technology in schools from being about risk and safety to empowerment and critical thinking. And it just this lecture came so important today because we just got word that Australia, for example, has put legislations passing to ban social media for kids 16 years old or younger. And for me, I'm very curious then with that information, like um, what is the bridge for that young individual? I understand why they want to do it for safety reasons and for, bullying and all these other things that happen on social media that are terrible. But then when we talk about media literacy and how to implement these things, I'm curious if schools, looking at the data already from what you've done in Portugal and how surprised you were with that information, really with the lack of literacy information, how to expect our schools or younger kids to actually have the information. Because I feel a lot of media literacy comes with practice and comes with actually using these sources in order to gain insight. So hearing this information today and just hearing this lecture, I'm really curious about how, I know many countries want to do this as well. So how do we safeguard not the of course, the bullying and stuff like that, but how do we safeguard empowerment and critical thinking?
Yes, it's a very good question, Jamal, because it's a controversial issue. If this what is happening in Australia, here in Portugal, we also discussed a lot about mobile phones at schools. If it is allowed or not allowed. So it's a great question, but I think that the question is that parents are not doing their job at their homes. So sometimes we need some regulation, and this regulation is based on protectionism measures, and not in empowerment of the children and young people. And I think it's not good for them. It's not good when when they grow up. They don't contact with these realities. I also understand why they are not allowing these social networks. Okay, I agree that small children don't need to have contact with social networks, don't need to have contact with mobile phones. They need to do other things, other activities. They need to play with other kids, with other objects. But I think sometimes we can't do nothing at the families related with this kind of use. So what I suggest, I think it is important to promote media literacy also for families. Because, the problem for me is in families. Sometimes children and young people have media literacy at school, and they discuss and they debate and they learn a lot of things, but it's the opposite at their home. So it's difficult to the child or to the young people to know to know how to deal with this different information from school and from home. So I think it's important to develop media literacy for families, and that also the governments and states understand that I think the way is the empowerment. It's to prepare, to empower children in order to know how to use this media, and also to empower families, because when they are very young, they sometimes have this skill to analyze or to understand, or to use in another way these kind of devices. So well, I think sometimes we need regulation to regulate what we can't do at our context, at our home, at our school, at our relations with the others. Well, this is my perspective, that I can understand this prohibition. I can understand this measure, but I think it's not good for children. It's not good for young people, because it's not preparing them for this is the reality. We need to prepare them to use this media, and also to, of course, to have some rules, because we have no rules at home. We need to have rules at school, and but this implies a lot of work from parents, from teachers, also from the kids, and sometimes people are not prepared to train and to educate children in this way. I don't know what the other people here think about this kind of measure. Do you agree? You don't agree? Yes, Maya.
Actually, I have some examples from my own experience as a teacher, and I teach primary right now, where as much as I 100% agree that if this was included with the family having the media literacy to kind of help guide and integrate this into the child's life, more often than not, what I'm seeing is that the child has a better understanding of the technology than the parent does, more often than not. And a lot of times that means that the parent doesn't even know what rules to imply, because they just don't understand the technology. And more often than not, the kids are telling each other, oh, watch this video, check this out, these things, and they are, creating their own little sphere of, information. And unfortunately, more often than not, it is about skibbity toilet, and I cannot emphasize how much I'm tired of that phrase. Um, but so, and a lot of them don't have the technology at home. They don't have a home computer. They don't have, they're a personal computer. A lot of their interaction is either through a phone or a tablet. And I almost feel like it's harder to kind of watch a phone or a tablet when a kid has it, because it's so portable. So I don't exactly have the answer, but I do want to throw that out, at least for younger kids. And a lot of the families that I see is just that the family just doesn't know what they don't know. So, I love
Yes.
the idea of what you said, of it sounded like almost like a in tandem kind of thing, maybe, where the kids are learning this at school, and maybe there's an information night or something like that that the parents can take advantage of as well, or at least, an information packet. I don't know what it would look like, but um just trying to find the inroad there to the families, I think, is probably one of the harder questions to answer at this point, at least from what I'm seeing in my own little corner of Spain here.
Yes, yes, I totally agree with you. It's not easy, and children grow up with these technologies, so they are very keen in dealing with them, and sometimes parents don't know, but there are some kind of competencies like analysis and evaluation, and understanding, and selection of the information, and also what are they doing with their tablets, with their computers, with their mobile phones, and parents don't know, and they think they are and they are safe, and sometimes they are traveling from in some worlds that are not suitable for them.
Yeah, I've
So
got 10-year-olds playing
yes,
GTA 5.
yes,
I don't know what to do with that.
yes, and it was easier when we talk about the time of television, because at this time parents know the programmation and know what the television was broadcasting, but at this time it's not easy, and as you said, it's portable, and they have their own devices, and well, it's but at the same time I think it's an obligation of the parents to mediate this media world to their children, and to have this concern in knowing what they are doing with the technologies, with the media. So I think it's important that parents recognize that is an obligation of their educational role. Okay, yeah. Well, more comments or more opinions about this, or other questions?
Yeah, I think Javier has a question. Go on, Javier.
Oh,
We can hear you.
yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
All
now.
right. So I do agree with what Maya said. So I do work as a child and youth worker. So I have to deal with um with kids who are on their phone with different social media trends like TikTok and whatnot. And the skibbity toilet thing, I dealt with a few months back in regards to how the kids are behaving. Um, Even as a child and youth worker, I also do work with a lot of children that come from diasporic backgrounds. So their parents have a bit of a language barrier. So they would say certain things, or they would say certain things like acronyms that um, that I would hear and I would know of it because I also have social media. And some of the kids would be saying these type of things. It'd be vulgar or distasteful, and I'll try to educate them. But I think what the issue is also a language barrier, not in terms of media literacy, but in terms of the language itself here, especially here in Canada. You have parents who don't understand the English language that well, so they would turn to their kid. Sometimes the kid would translate, or the kid would or the children would lie and be like, oh, okay, you know. And there have been many times I have to give some of these kids warnings, and that you sort of have the parents that I do agree with what you're saying, Sarah, that parents have a full obligation to make sure their children understand what content they find on the media. But it seems like the parents want to push it on any sort of educator or child and youth worker or social worker for us to teach them, in a sense, to sort of um, navigate through their phones all the time. And it almost seems like they not, I wouldn't say pawned off to us, but it's almost like, okay, this is your responsibility. So how do we gauge parents to finally to say, you know what, let me start looking more at my kids' intake of content, and how do we also sort of navigate with parents saying that like, oh, I had some parents like, oh, I'm busy, I have work, or things of this sort. So how do we sort of influence parents to make these changes or make the effort to to see what the content that kids are taking in.
Yes. Do you have some answers to this or not? Or proposals? No.
I would say what they're doing now, especially at some of the schools here, I think throughout the district school board, is they've completely banned phones. So kids are not allowed to take out their mobile phones anymore. Some teachers are going back to more holistic approaches of education. I mean, they would still have a smart board, but they would say, okay, pen and paper or pen and notebook. You cannot use your laptop anymore. Even some of the some of the people that I had worked with in prior university, especially now they have siblings that were some professors. I think a few of them said, you know what, I'm very holistic. I want you to have a pen and paper. I think it is not only to it, I'm a little bit stuck in this. I do agree with us having critical understanding of digital technologies, what we also absorb, but I also do think to some extent, perhaps we should maybe slow down just a tad bit till we find better solutions so instead of pushing forward and we finding more problems and more problems stacking over one another. So I think perhaps we should just maybe take it a bit slower, still kind of use the holistic methods. And then when we're certain of it, then we could sort of implement a more digital or media information literacy perspectives and implement that more into schools and educational institutions.
Yes, I agree with you, Jabir. And you know, we also can promote media literacy without working with media. Okay,
Yeah.
we can do activities and implement activities in order to promote this or to develop this critical thinking. And without media, we can use some kind of content. We can use we can use the experience of the students, okay, and in order to develop their way of deal with media, deal with content, deal with information in the world. So if you ban the mobile phones from schools, perhaps you can have this as an issue to reflect with them. And why are we banning the mobile phones? Because sometimes schools, I'm talking about what is happening here in Portugal, sometimes they ban the mobile phones from schools, but they don't discuss this question with the children and people. They just ban. And well, no, we need to talk to them and to discuss with them why it's important that they don't have mobile phones in the classroom or in breaks, and give them more freedom to play, to be with the peers, with their colleagues, and debate with them this. Okay, this debate is also media literacy work. And is empowering them also about the reasons that adults can consider that mobile phones is not good at all time in their lives. Okay, so it's sometimes we have some attitudes with children, young people, considering that they are not people that think or that they don't know anything. No, they know, and they are thinkers, and we need to treat them as citizens that also have their rights and also have their opinions, and they could also contribute to this discussion, and sometimes they feel good with this kind of policies, and we can have them in our side in order to have a more healthy contexts or else environment at schools. So it's some reflections only. We can. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Thank you for the perspective. It's just for me. I was just more so just looking at like what are some solutions that I can think of, and I've always just been pushing to the corner of like, the parents don't want to do anything, but I do agree they are critical thinkers as well, and they do have to partake as they are to some extent digital citizens. Not maybe not as much as their children, but they are still integrated into that society.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Maya wanted
Yes.
to add something, and Jamal too.
Okay.
Mine's actually
Mine.
really short.
Yeah.
I just put in the group chat this article literally just posted, but they were talking about putting the onus on the platforms, the social media platforms. In Australia, they are going to apparently pass a ban for kids that are younger than 16 for holding profiles on these platforms. And I've only just kind of done a quick scan of it, but I did think it was a potentially interesting partial solution to this idea of, okay, so maybe the families aren't as aware of what these platforms can do or what's on these platforms. So is it the government? Is it local government, federal government, whatever, to start kind of stepping in on these things because these companies, these platforms are so large and so powerful, it's really hard to go on a systematic level of, okay, each individual parent needs to understand this, each kid needs to understand this. Well, until everybody does, maybe it does take something more sweeping like this to say, hey, kids under this age shouldn't be having profiles on these. Now, whether we agree on the age and things like that, that of course can get really sticky. But at least it seems this might be a potential way to, as Javier said, to kind of slow down a little bit while we try and figure this out. I mean, regardless of how fast technology is developing, which is another issue entirely. But maybe this is a potential band-aid for the solution, for a future solution.
Yes. Slow down. It's good, Maya. I think it's you can adopt this slogan for media literacy. Yes. So Jamal.
Yeah, and along those lines, really quickly as well, I was thinking the idea of media literacy information courses being just as important as an English class, a math class, especially if we're going to go the route of slowing down, what Australia is doing, for example, then we have to gear up something even more, a radical change in some way. So it's not like a component of your education. It has to be just as important. It has to have the 12-year curriculum as well, going through all these tiers. So like in my mind, they might not have the social media apparatus until much later on, but as soon as they're able to get on that, they have the tools and information necessary. Like you mentioned earlier, we can still do media training or exercises without the actual practice of social media. We have other ways of doing that as well. So I think how to integrate media literacy as a major subject, for example.
Yes. I think we at this moment we need more action. Perhaps you know David Buckingham is from Great Britain. He wrote a book that is Media Education Manifesto. If you don't know, please read this book. It is, for me, it is great. And this is a manifesto in order to say that we need to take action in media literacy. It's important the study, it's important the reflection, but now it's time for action. And I think this is the need now, the need for schools, the need for families, the need for other institutions is the real media literacy happening in these contexts. We are studying this. We know already what is the consequences of the use of media. We know what we need to develop with the children, the competencies that they need to develop. So we need more action, to take more action in this nowadays. So I think that for media literacy, this is very important. Sometimes we spend our time reflecting and talking about the problems, and it is very, very important that we reflect and we discuss and we problematize, but it is important, the action, and sometimes the action is missing, and I think it's now our mission. I don't know. Yes.
Okay, guys, thank you everyone for your interventions. If there is nothing else, no comment or maybe no ask questions, I think we're gonna leave it here for today. Thank you again. Thank you, Sara, for your time. I think it was a great session today, almost 2 hours. So it went really, really great. So I will write to you, Sarah, but if you can remember to send us the link of the video we couldn't
Yes.
watch, so we can upload it to the virtual campus. And well, guys, thank you again, and we see you in a couple of weeks at the end of the model. So thank you again,
And Albert,
yes,
can I ask you to send to all these people my email if they want to contact me?
of course,
Okay,
yes,
so it
yeah,
will be
yeah, of
great to be in
course,
contact. Yes, okay.
yes,
Thank
of
you.
course. Thank you very much, and
Thank
see
you.
you in a couple of weeks, guys.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye
Bye.
bye. Yes, bye bye. Thank you.